Hi folks, today I want to talk to you about the newest lure from Larew Lures called the Sweet Swimmer. It is a 3.5-inch swim bait with a boot tail, and it's probably one of the most versatile swim baits I've ever found, and I'm going to tell you a few different ways on how to rig it so that you can catch some more fish. Now like I said, it is 3.5 inches long, which makes it perfect for just about anywhere you want to go in the country to catch anything from largemouth to smallmouth spotted bass, walleye, even larger panfish. Probably the most popular way to rig this thing is just on a little ball head jig. You can use it just as a standard ball head jig, probably an 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce at the most, and just swim it back just traditionally, or you can just hop it along the bottom. Now, the most popular way to probably use this thing right now is with the new umbrella style rigs that have come out, such as the Man's Alabama rig, Picasso schoolie rig, any of those, where you're going to put 5 of these baits onto one rig, and then you're going to have that illusion of a school of bait fish swimming. Now, the nice thing about the Sweet Swimmer is it has a long, slender body with an oversized boot tail, and that body design, along with that boot tail, allows it to have a nice, tight swimming action, which makes it look just like a shad or a shiner or even a small perch swimming in a school. The other nice thing about it is with that slender profile, it can mimic just about anything except for maybe a bluegill, which has a lot fatter body. Besides using it on just a standard jig head, you can also throw it on what's called a scrounger head. Now, the only difference between a jig head and a scrounger head is that the scrounger head has a small, flexible lip that's made out of a soft plastic. And what that lip does is it actually allows the bait that you put onto it to have a lot more vibration. So when you pair it up with a Sweet Swimmer, what you get is sort of like a finesse chatterbait. It's got that vibration that a chatterbait has, but it's just a little bit more of a finesse presentation of doing that. With this presentation, you can throw it in deep or shallow water, depending on how heavy a weight you're going to use with it. And you're just going to slow roll that along the bottom or through brush piles, stuff like that. It works great in the Carolinas or down in some of those Georgia lakes where you have a lot of spotted bass in that red clay banks. It's a perfect way to use it is on the scrounger head. Another great finesse presentation, especially down in the Carolinas and Georgia, is to put it on what's called an underspin. The most popular version of the underspin is probably the fish head spin from Swarming Hornet Lures, and it's basically just a jig head with sort of like a fish head body, and then it's got either a willow leaf or a Colorado spinning blade underneath of that, sort of like a Roadrunner. And with this, you can use it in the horizontal presentation just like the scrounger head, and just kind of slow roll it along the bottom. You can also yo-yo it back to the boat, and the nice thing about this is that you can also use it in a vertical presentation. Say you get over top of a brush pile, or you're fishing some bridge piling, something like that, you can just jig this bait over top of those brush piles. And by using this Sweet Swimmer, you give it a finesse feel, but with a little bit more vibration than if, say, you use like a fluke style bait. That little boot tail is going to give it a lot more action, and it's going to appeal to a little bit bigger fish. So this is a great way to catch some really big spotted bass, is by using a Sweet Swimmer on a underspin rig. Besides that, you can also drop shot it, which is a great thing to try up north, especially if you're around a lot of perch or smelt or stuff like that. You can drop shot for smallmouth. The nice thing about using the Sweet Swimmer instead of your standard little finesse worm is you're going to get hits, your standard way of drop shotting, just sitting there shaking a little bit. But also, as you're reeling it in, that boot tail on the Sweet Swimmer is going to cause vibration, and you're actually going to catch some fish just reeling the bait in, which gives it a little bit more of an added attribute by using it that way than just using your standard finesse worm, where you're not going to get much action when you're reeling it in. One of the ways you can power fish with a Sweet Swimmer is to put it on the back of a chatterbait, a swim jig, or a spinnerbait. Here I've got it rigged on the back of a chatterbait, and that's a nice presentation because what it does, that little tail is going to give that chatterbait a little bit extra vibration, and that swim bait is going to give your chatterbait or your spinnerbait or even your swim jig a beefier profile. It's going to look ultra realistic in the water, so it's a great way to throw a chatterbait or a swim jig in clear water. It gives it a really realistic presentation to it. The other nice thing about it is when you have that bulkier plastic on the back of those rigs, it makes them easier to cast. so you can get a little bit more casting distance with it. You're going to want to match your color to whatever bait you're using, obviously. Here I've got like a blue shad colored chatterbait, and I've got the monkey milk color of the Sweet Swimmer, which is just sort of like a clear salt and pepper with like a blue highlight to it. It really matches this bait perfectly. I can throw this bait in just about any lake in the country and I'll catch some fish on this. I love to throw the chatterbait with that Sweet Swimmer as a trailer. There's 10 different colors with the Sweet Swimmer, and it also has a very strong scent to it, which is one of the reasons it's called the Sweet Swimmer, is that sweet scent, that the sweet oil that Gene Larew puts onto it, which just adds that little bit extra to attract more fish to it. So these are just some of the ways I like to use it. Maybe you can come up with some of your own, but I definitely think you should try this bait out because that 3.5-inch size makes it so much more versatile than your larger 5 and 6-inch swim baits, because you can use it anywhere in the country for any type of bass, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass. They're all going to hit this bait. You can also use it even if you're just pan fishing for large slab crappies or for large perch. You can use it for walleye fishing, just about any type of fishing you want to do. You can use this smaller swim bait, and because it has that tight, natural swimming action, it's going to attract all kinds of fish. So if you're looking to purchase some of the Sweet Swimmers, you can go online to a place like Tackle Warehouse or Bass Pro Shops. They all have them, so check it out. I think you'll be impressed with it.